Oh baby, it's back. Sound the horns because Calradia Expanded and Calradia Expanded Kingdoms has just been updated to 1.1.5, which is the latest current patch. Of course, we have 1.2 in beta form. However, for now, this mod is updated with the current patch, and I applaud you to go and download it and, of course, start a new campaign. So, if you've never heard of Calradia Expanded Kingdoms before and you're looking for something new to play in Bannerlord, this is 100% the way you need to go, because it is probably, honestly, I would say one of the best overhaul mods out there that is still on Calradia. No, scratch that. This is definitely one of the best overhaul mods out there. It basically adds in tons of kingdoms, adds in tons of new cultures, units, and it's pretty lightweight as well, only using the two Calradia Expanded Kingdoms, as well as open source armory. That's literally all it uses, so it's extremely lightweight. That means less crashes. And because it splits up all the kingdoms into their own unique cultures and factions and units, it provides a completely different experience. So if we take a look at the different cultures that you'll be able to play as you can see, we have the normal ones right here from Valandia to Britannia, but then we have all these other different kingdoms, and the awesome thing is each of these kingdoms has their own unique bonuses and negatives. This is one thing that I love seeing in mods, and it's always so cool because it adds to that flavor. If we look at the Valyrians right here, you can see they have forced march, they have increased speed of infantry on the campaign map, so running with these massive infantry armies is actually going to be really fun, because you can also almost keep up with people with heavy cavalry armies. Like, that's such a cool, unique thing, and it fits right into this kind of thing of, you know, this rapid paced empire which is moving, kind of these hammering attacks. It's like a really cool kind of way to tie it into the lore. If we take another look at maybe the Nordings right here, again, they get faster village raiding. These are the Vikings of the Calradian world. They get no penalty when it comes to snow, no penalty when they move across water. But obviously, because of this, because these guys are all about the raiding, they also receive, you know, reduced income from settlements. They're not really about maximizing profit compared to, say, another faction that would be, you know, the Republics down here definitely would be the case. You can see they get civil duty, reduced wages for garrison, because it is the people's right and their duty to defend the glorious Republic. So I think, of course, that alone is just absolutely awesome. All the different cultures is amazing. But then you take a look at the map, and honestly, I remember I haven't played this mod in a while because it hasn't been updated. I think it's been stock on a release build for ages. But like, looking back and thinking about my previous playthroughs on this mod, it just brings like so many fond memories, because there's so many more exciting possibilities with all the factions the way they are. So I do also have a map mod on as well, which changes a lot of the banners and stuff. This is like a side module you can go, so that might be why the maps are a little bit weird and different. But with blocks campaign icons as well, you can really get a nice little definition of all the kingdoms by just looking at the simple color of the names of the settlements. So you can see that there are, you know, just in Valandia we have two kingdoms right there. Another kingdom up here in the north, Britannia, is split into, I think, 2 different kingdoms. Down here in the south, in the Azerai, they're split into 3. We have an extremely cool settlement right here. You know, to kind of set off, these is an independent faction. I always bring this up because it's just like a really cool one, and it has such cool lore to it as well. Basically, the island was won in a game of chance between the previous emperor, and for ever since it's kind of stayed as this independent bastion. A really cool challenge, I guess, if you're looking to play as maybe just a one island faction. You can definitely do that and just basically guard the traveling across. The empire has also been split into about 4 or 5 different factions, and they're all really unique. They all fight very differently. They all have very different units that we'll take a look at in a second, and they've really been able to capture just kind of a nice little essence of all these different cultures. The Kuzites again have been split into 2, maybe even 3, and then of course we have the northern lands as well in the Sturgeons, who have also been split into a pretty wide amount of settlements as well. So of course that is all well and good. All the factions look unique and they feel unique, but what do they fight like? So again, we have a faction up here. These are going to be the Pelisini conscripts right here, and their unit roster is a nice little mix. We have kind of a mix between like Empire and Britannia, and you can really see that in their armors, and there's several different variants of that. The type of units they have are looking very interesting and unique. And again, you kind of got that difference of like, oh, it's kind of like a battalion forces, but also kind of mixed in there with more of the Empire hardiness. The cavalry is really cool as well. And then if you go actually to the faction itself and you're like, oh, okay, I wonder what this faction is all about. And you read the description about the faction, you can see that these were former hill forts scattered on. And then if you go back to the actual kind of lore of the faction, you can be able to see that these were basically treated as second-class citizens of the Empire when it was intact and fully strong. They were successors of the Valandian Wars waged against the Western and Northern Empires, and they saw their chance to rebel. So again, they kind of have that, all that like kind of infusement with the lore into their units, and it fits really well. Another faction I very much like down here is this one right there, because I think they just look so cool. Their units are kind of very Greek-esque, and again, these are basically colonizers who left the Empire and came over here, and their units look very, very cool. They kind of, again, got that Empire feel to them, but they're also kind of also got the Azorite. You know, they do live in the desert, and that is represented by the type of units they have. Plenty of different variants as well to all the units. The actual elite troop tree as well is super, super cool. If we can find it quickly. Yeah, you can see their troop tree right here. They have just elite kind of Eastern cataphracts, which I think look awesome on the battlefield. Very, very cool aesthetic. Another very cool thing about how the map is set up also is like the Valandians are kind of in this innate civil war as well. So we have the Valandians, and then we also have the Royalist Valandians as well. So there's kind of like an innate civil war. So already there's like action embedded, I keep on saying this, in the lore that's going on in this campaign at the start of the game. Here we go. This is another faction in the Empire, and right off the bat you can see immediately just like how different this faction is. I believe this one is more like the Eastern Roman Empire more than anything else. But yeah, as I said, you can like immediately start to see like how different this is from the other one, the Palestini we were just looking at, who are kind of more a barbarian Empire faction. Again, they play very differently. This means you're going to have some very, very unique battles and also unique campaigns. And then finally, if we just take a look quickly at the Lyrion recruit units and the factions that they can bring. Again, this faction is much more of your like Northern African faction right here. Again, you have the light cavalry. That's what they're all about. They're about this cavalry that can hit fast, move fast, and a lot of their infantry is going to be represented in that. They don't really have a very wide ranging one, but yeah, basically they have an infantry line, they have a cavalry line, and they have a light skirmisher cavalry line. Like that is their roster, and it's a very interesting way of going about it. They also again have a heavier infantry, so these guys have basically no long-range missile capabilities. But again, that provides such an interesting factor for when you actually fight them on the battlefield. You're going to know that going in, and you're going to be like, okay, I don't have to worry. I can skirmish them down. They're not going to be able to hit me back hard. And if you're playing as them, again, it's going to kind of lend itself to a unique playstyle, which I think is really cool. And something that I think vanilla Bannerlord just lacks. Every faction plays the same, really. You don't really play uniquely with anything. Yeah, like literally, I'm trying to think of it. You maybe spam 1 or 2 units from a certain faction, but you don't play differently. I still play exactly the same with everything. And this mod provides you with that complete different playstyle, as every factions have these strengths, they have these weaknesses, and because there's so many more factions on top of that, it means that there's wars going on all the time. Factions are getting ganged up on, certain factions are getting destroyed, but when factions get too powerful, they then get jumped up on. I will also mention as well, of course, that this is using open source armory, like I already said, so there are tons of other unique armors and weaponry that you're going to be able to go ahead and find, craft, build, utilize to your advantage. Something that would also be really cool for something like this is definitely My Little Warband. If you can, I'm not sure if it's updated for 1.5 at the moment, but yeah, getting back and kind of creating your own faction from all of these awesome assets, and in a world like this is always a cool thing to do, and definitely something I would recommend. But yeah, you have access to all these extra weapons. I believe there's tons of different horse saddles as well that actually get added in with this. Yeah, as you can see, there's some really, really cool ones. And you even have camel armor as well. So if we find a quick camel, there's some absolutely amazing armor to go along with it. It's really goddamn cool. They've done such an amazing job with the open source armory. And the fact that any mod can use it as well is just always really impressive and what we love to see. So yes, I wanted to make this quick video just to let you guys know that this is the time to start a new campaign. I know 1.2 is just around the corner. I imagine it'll be coming out of beta pretty goddamn quickly now that it's been in there for about a month. But you know, in the meantime, this is definitely the mod to be playing. Again, you can add stuff to it as well. Add RTX camera, add in diplomacy, add in all the other glorious combat stuff that you can think of. Realistic battle is, of course, an absolute must. And also the amazing thing about this using open source armory is that realistic battle also has a patch to go with it to actually kind of fully connect them two together and use open source armory with RBM. It's a really, really cool marriage made in heaven, I will say. But yeah, go check this out. I'll leave the links to it down below in the description. Super lightweight. Let me know what you guys thought, if you're going to be starting a new campaign. If so, what faction you're going to be playing. And I'll see you guys in the next one.